Welcome to another online tutorial from New Life Baptist Academy. This is the voice of Christopher Nader. Today's tutorial is about how to use the power of Excel to add up or sum all of the data in surrounding cells. To do that, we first have to make sure that our data has only numbers in it, no words. And the problem with our little sample spreadsheet here is that the quiz grades are shown with points, P-O-I-N-T-S, included in the column. Excel cannot work with those numbers. Let me show you an example. So let's move over to this next column, just the numbers. So Peter scored a 68, Saul scored an 88, Joshua scored a 99, Mary a 92, Rebecca a 103, and Martha a 97. And just to make this a little easier to see, let's center this data. So I go into Alignment, Center, and put it in the middle. Okay, now we say to Excel, let's go down below the 97 that Martha scored, click on that cell and say to Excel, I would like to make this cell equal to the sum of all the numbers above it. So there's a slow way to do it, but a good way to learn is to say make that cell equal to, so you hit the equals button on your keyboard, and then, which is just usually to the left of the backspace button, then you go up and you click on the first item that you want to put in, just like you'd click on a number in a calculator. We click on the 68, and then we say to Excel, now I'd like to add to that the next one. So you do Shift plus sign on the keyboard, and you'll notice down in the bottom it says D6 is going to be added to something. D6 tells us what the row and column number is for the cell that has 68 in it. So then we'd go to the next cell and click on it and do a plus just like we would in a calculator, and then the next one and a plus just like we would in a calculator. Click on the next entry item and a plus, and click on the next entry item and a plus, and click on the last one, and then hit enter, and Excel says the sum of all the scores is 547. Now, just to prove that Excel must have numbers only in those cells, let's try to do the same technique one column to the left. So we click here, and then we say to Excel, okay, make that equal to, and I click on this one, and I click on plus, and I click on this one, and I click on this one, plus, and I go down, plussing each one until I get to the last one, hit enter, and oops, it says number sign value exclamation. Whenever you see that cell, that means error, 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 you've done something wrong, and you must try it a different way or fix it some way. So let's click on that cell and backspace to remove the data, and then we're back to where we were. So we've just proved that you cannot have words in a column of figures that you're trying to ask Excel to add up. Now let's learn another faster way to do this. The faster way is to, let's click here and say to Excel, and first let's center all of the data in this column as well so we can see it clearly. So I select it, I go up to center in the alignment sub window, click on center. Now the data I type in is going to be centered. So I say to Excel down here, I would like this cell to equal, and then you say I'm going to tell you a mathematical formula which is called sum. That means it's another word for addition. And I'm going to sum, and then I put the open parenthesis mark which says I'm going to sum everything in between these two parenthesis marks. So then I go up and left click on 68 and drag down to Martha's 97, let up, close my parenthesis by hitting Shift parenthesis close, which is above the 0 on the keyboard, and then I hit enter, and wow, 547, there's my correct answer again. And just to make sure that the sum function won't work if there's words included in data cells, let's go back to our friend here and do equals sum open paren, click on Peter's score, drag down to Martha's, close paren, and hit enter. Hope it works. Nope, it doesn't like it. It obviously the answer is not 0. So when you do the sum function, you get a different error message, which is it ain't right. So we get rid of that one, and we're back to knowing two ways now to add up. Now the reason that the sum function, and when I check your homework, when I click on this, I'm double checking you're using the power of Excel to find the answer, because I'm going to go up to the formula bar and see that you've told that cell to make that the sum of everything from D6 to D11. That's how I check your work to see if you're using the function, the formula function of Excel. Let me go back one step and show you why it would be important to be able to simply use the addition one cell at a time. I'm going to take out this first 547 for a minute and say instead I would just like to add up the scores of just the female students. So I would do that by going to this column and going, I want that column to equal Mary's points, which is 92, plus Rebecca's points, which are 103, plus Martha's points. And I hit equal, and that, and what you can see there is that Mary plus Rebecca plus Martha equal 292. When you want to add up data that is not next to each other, you have to do it this way. Let's say I wanted to add up just the points of the people whose names start with M. I would click here and say make that equal to Mary, she starts with an M, plus Martha, she starts with an M, and those two scores together add up to 189. So that's how you sum. You can also sum horizontally. Let's say that you have numbers here like 3 and 5. Oops, these are dollar signs. Let's make these all just numbers for point of interest. So we go to font, we go to number, make it a number with no decimal places. That clears the dollar signs, and let's say that we put a number here of 2. And then I say I'd like to add up that 3 plus 5 plus 2. So I go into this column, or this cell, and say I'd like that to equal to the sum of, open my parenthesis, and then I click and drag to the right instead of down. Close my parenthesis, enter, and there's my answer of 10. So you can use the sum function left and right. You can also use a minus sign. For example, in this cell, let's make this cell equal to this cell minus, just hit a minus sign just like you would on a calculator, minus 2 equals 3. So very easy, very powerful technique, just like putting into a calculator, asking Excel to sum or subtract items that are on the screen. One final thing. Let's say that you wanted to use a function that's not addition or subtraction. Let's say multiplication. So let's say that in this column we say to Excel, I would like this column to be this 3 times, and the times sign is the asterisk, which is a shift 8. It's above the 8, times this cell. You just click on it and hit enter, and sure enough 3 times 5 is 15. Those are once again in dollar signs. We don't like that. That's cumbersome, so we go back to number, no decimal places, and there's our 15. You can also tell it to divide. You could say I would like this to be this number divided by this number. 15 divided by 5 should be 3. Let's see if it is. And you can see the divide sign is the diagonal line. That's the key under the question mark. It's usually just to the left of the shift key. So we hit enter, and sure enough it does the division for us. If you want to make sure you've got the formula done right, click on the cell, look up in the formula bar, and it says take the value in G8, which would be 15, and divided by the value in G6, which would be 5, and sure enough the answer is 3. So that's how you addition, subtract, multiply, and divide using the power of Excel. The sum function, which we learned down here in 547, is the key one, because as your data gets really big, being able to put it all together so you can use the sum of everything I'm clicking and dragging is going to be a very valuable skill. So let's stop there, and the next tutorial is going to tell us some more. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.